Right here, there's a piece of channel that I welded to the bracket that came with it, and that lines me up to the frame. I've got it sitting in here, put a string on it, tried to get everything centered, make sure I got clearance on my steering. Everything looks like it's going to line up really nice, so I'm about to the point of tack welding these in place. I think I've got them pretty well lined up. I actually got this one C-clamped on this side. And then to lift the engine back out, I'm going to roll it outside, bead blast this firewall, get all the rest of the rust off it, some of the frame here, and get everything welded up solid in here because it's ready to get that and finish up on this engine. I still got to put the oil pump and oil pan back on it. A lot of people would say, well, why didn't you put the oil pan on it first before you mocked it up? But there's nothing under the frame here. I mean, it's all open because of the way this engine sits back. So the oil pan's open under there. So there's nothing I got to worry about as far as alignment on that. So it's making progress. Finally got my little AC buzz box welder working. I picked that up off of one of those let go sites. I think I gave $30 for the thing. You know, it was a deal. I drove all the way across town, and come to find out when I got there, it didn't have the cables to it, and I had no idea if the thing even worked. So I told them, I said, I can't give you what you want for it. And they said, well, what do you give me for it? And I said, I could give you 30 on it. And they said, take it. So I took it and cleaned it up and bought a Stinger over at Harbor Freight. It was like $15, I think, for the handle. Works pretty nice. Also got a new ground clamp for it. I think I wound up having to go to Lowe's and get that because Harbor Freight was out of them. But it wasn't $6 or $7, something like that. I don't know. And buddy of mine gave me the wire. He had plenty of this wire, which I lucked out on because it's a nice heavy gauge wire. So the welder works great. You know, after getting some new rods, the rods that we had were if anybody does much welding, the 7018s, and I guess they just soaked up a lot of moisture sitting. So I just went and got the 6011s, which are probably better for what I want to weld here anyway. I got these over Tractor Supply, and used them on the back of the motor mounts, and they work good. The 6011 burns really quick, really hot, but it'll burn through a little paint, rust. You know, it doesn't have to be the cleanest metal. Even though I used it on the back side of those motor mounts, which were new, and the angle iron I cleaned off with a grinder, so it had a clean surface anyway. And my welds aren't very pretty, but at least it's stuck good. So we'll get it in there, and I'm gonna get all that welded up and go from there. But gonna do a little bead blasting on it and start putting things back together. So that's where I'm at. But you got any questions, comments, just drop me a message down there. Appreciate y'all watching. Thanks a lot.